Hi, and welcome back to our second segment. My name is Denise Hill, and I'm your host and producer.
Hi, I'm author Felicia Malone.
And I'm author and motivational speaker, Myra Cassidy.
And we are the host of
Girl Talk.
Today we are going to be talking about sexual assault on females. Mm-hmm. This should be really interesting.
Yeah, I think we got a lot
to
say.
The topic. Seeing that Mr. R. Kelly is in the news
every day, several times a day.
Did you guys watch the documentary?
I didn't. You know what? I did not have the heart to watch it. I had to say, I'm going to stop watching this because the things that after I heard his ex-wife speak about what happened with her experience as far as getting hogtied, I said I just couldn't take.
Now, see, I didn't hear that part.
Oh, my goodness. She was on a couple of different talk shows sharing her story, and she said that what gave her courage was the fact that she heard another young lady say what had happened, and she wanted to validate what she was saying. Yeah. It was that, and then when I heard the young lady who currently, I guess, is living in his house, her parents speaking about how they're trying to save her, and when I saw that there was on the news, this young lady, she was on the news saying, I'm fine, and wrote a statement, and her name was misspelled. I said, I can't keep listening to what's happening because it's just so horrific.
But see, what my thing is, why aren't the police getting involved? Why isn't someone getting involved?
Because we live in a patriarchal society where women's word isn't enough. The voice of a woman's pain isn't enough.
But you know what? If it was a white girl he had, I think things would be a little different.
I think a big part of the problem, though, is a lot of them currently are of age and are saying there's nothing wrong. Because I can't think of the young lady's name whose parents are out there advocating for her, but she's like 20. And that's, I think, a big part of the problem is because she's 20 years old and saying, I'm fine, I want to be here, leave me alone. And that's that has to be a big, I would think that's a big part of the problem because these ladies are, they're brainwashed,
But I would say first, sexual assault and the R. Kelly situation, they are conflated, but they're also different. They're in the sense of there are other dynamics at play.
But there was a 14-year-old girl,
right?
One that he urinated on and in her mouth.
Yeah.
And
go ahead.
And
that was just the extra gross bit. That
her dad is his bass player.
Yeah. But when I say
it's still his bass player.
When I say other dynamics, what I mean is sexual assault. When a lot of people think of sexual assault, they think of this stranger grabbing someone in the alley, beating them up and raping them, and that's not always the case.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad you're speaking up on that because there's a lot of things that encompass sexual assault. Yeah,
exactly. So it encompasses a lot, and also I watched like a few minutes of that Abducted in Plain Sight, and it was so disturbing I had to stop watching it. But it's a Netflix documentary, true story, about a girl who's abducted by her neighbor, and when they go into the levels of grooming that took place so that he could have access to this girl, the level of grooming not of just the young girl but of her parents. And when you think of the level of manipulation, because the ultimate goal is for this person, this molester, to get to the object that they're fixated on, right? Mm-hmm. So if you take that and you think of the R. Kelly situation, add to that fame, add to that money, add to that this mystique, this intrigue, and grown women have trouble with Junebug and Leroy manipulating them. Mm-hmm. How do you expect a 14-year-old, a 16-year-old, 17-year-old to withstand the manipulation, the master manipulation of someone who's good at what he does?
Mm-hmm. He's a professional at what he does.
He's very successful and has money. And it's not just money, it's the power that comes along with money. It's the power to make people look the other way.
Right. And he's really groomed society with his music. And you know what?
Yeah,
He had to have been that, my personal opinion, He was that way before he even got fame.
Well, they said that he was like molested when he was molested or raped.
That's
when he was
not an
young.
But that's not an excuse
to hurt
because
other
so many
people.
people advocate in the right direction because of their trauma.
But
so that's
you know
no way an
what?
excuse.
My thing is, if you're a parent, I just think of my daughter. Me and my daughter we have good communication. And if I tell her not to go somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
she's going to listen.
I think it's just
Well-
so different. It's just so, there's so many different makeup.
If that
It's
were
so
true,
different.
of,
It's different families,
yeah, even the
I just think
Girls
maybe
can
there's
pull the wool over the eyes a little bit.
I just think maybe they're not communicating. I don't know.
It's
I think it's
you
a lot
are
of
up
different
against if you are a hardworking bus driver, school teacher, raising your kids, doing the best you can, and they are, and you're raising them with morals and respect and godliness or whatever your moral, practice is. And here comes old flashy R. Kelly with his Jeep.
Knowing what to say, when to say it.
She can buy her Jordans, get her hair done, make all her friends jealous, make her feel like she's grown, make her feel like, wow, this big important guy wants me,
Right. Twisting her
it's-
mind, saying things. That's what they do. Taking what you say and
Yeah.
twisting it. He's, just playing with
But like
he's
one-
not
but
going
like-
after the strong,
That's what
independent.
That's what the one lady
You know?
said. He goes for young girls who have weak minds,
Mhm.
or he'll go for older women who have weak minds. But if he finds that you are a strong woman, he's not gonna deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost when you go back to that taken in plain sight. It was the same thing. This guy was a neighbor who they allowed to come over all the time, and all of the siblings were like, but he was fixated on their one sister. So the thing with R. Kelly, there were so many fights on the Facebook timeline about this R. Kelly situation.
And he has so many
It's-
supporters. He
yeah.
has
Yeah.
thousands upon thousands upon thousands of supporters.
So maybe that's the
and who
reason
blame
why-
the victims. The
Yeah.
supporters blame the victims.
But that's a cultural thing. And I say cultural speaking, and generalizing, of course, about black culture because when it comes to the abuse of young girls, how many times has that been overlooked, covered up, because it's someone important in the family, it's someone in a powerful position, it's someone, you don't want to rock the boat. Whatever the reason, it's always on the girl. There have been stories of young girls who've been molested and they've been moved. They've been sent to live with an aunt. They have been,
Because you don't want to stir up the trouble and things like that.
and then they're labeled because they don't know how to process that pain. And when they start to act out, it's, oh, she's the trouble one.
Yeah, and then
Right.
it gets worse. It gets worse with the victim. And then they say things like, oh, she thinks she's cute. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? She thinks she's cute. Or you start to develop
She
and then
thinks she's grown.
You know what I mean? Oh, look how she's walking.
And
Even
she's
the
so
way we,
fast.
right, even
Yeah.
why do we tell our young African American girls they don't have rights to wear their hair down? Why do we still do that?
What you mean hair down?
Like sometimes you have the thought that if you have like a 7-8-year-old girl, put her hair in pigtails. Don't let her wear her hair down. She looks too grown.
Because you are shifting the responsibility for the safety of that young girl's body from the man
Mm-hmm.
Onto the
child.
Mm-hmm. And you're saying she wants to look cute. Look, you trying to be grown.
Because
right.
Because we
right.
feel, I don't know if it's a sense of powerlessness, I don't know what it is, but we fail to hold men accountable for their actions.
Yeah,
And then maybe it's just the dynamic of the world we live in.
I think
You
it's
know,
that.
Is it
Yeah.
because it's just the way it is.
It's
I'm sorry.
It's just like R. Kelly's situation. The 14-year-old girl. The dad plays bass in his
still
band,
does.
and when her aunt took R. Kelly to court, the mother, the father, and the little girl didn't even show up.
Now was that Sparkle? Was Sparkle the aunt? I remember
Yes.
something about Sparkle,
Yes.
Sparkle.
speaking up
Yes.
and
Yes.
really upset about what had
Because she
happened.
actually introduced her to R. Kelly. She brought her in, and she feels bad about it. but she thinks that R. Kelly paid the parents off, and that's why they didn't show up in court. So if your own family doesn't do anything about it, how can you expect law enforcement
To do
or
something
anyone
about it.
else to do anything?
But it's also a fallacy to believe that there is a good solution. So let's say a child, well, this is gonna come across wrong. Let's say a child is molested in a home, right? And they tell, and foster care comes in. Foster care is tragic for a lot of children, you know. So how do we create safe exit strategies, so to speak,
Right.
or empower parents so that they're not financially bound to an abuser, or, you know,
Right.
I think that's important too, because you are dealing with, when I think of some examples of people who've confided in me, there were issues where the mother wasn't working, right? And she has all these little kids. So they make a decision to send the girl away versus,
Moving the family, and then she won't be able to take care of the family because she's
Right.
not working and things like that.
it's still wrong, but I just wanted to point out that there are other
Yeah,
dynamics.
That's a very interesting
And sometimes
dynamic.
we don't think about that.
And then too, these molesters and abusers, they do also put fear,
Yeah.
as far as I will hurt you, physically hurt you.
Yeah.
You know, so there's no telling, as far as R. Kelly with the money he has, how many lives he's threatening.
Hello, welcome back to Girl Talk. And where did we leave off at? We just had such a interesting conversation that I
You
can't.
remind me of a G.
Don't listen to the music.
It just gets you.
I mean, look how many songs he had, though. And you have to
Right.
stop yourself from bobbing your head.
But he,
You know,
he
I
also
think it's
wrote a lot
like-
of songs.
Yeah.
And he wrote a lot of songs for Whitney Houston.
He
He
did.
wrote for Michael
Oh,
Jackson.
did he? I didn't realize he did.
He wrote You Are Not Alone for Michael Jackson.
And he wrote,
So it's just...
yeah, he did.
So with me, I was never a fan of R. Kelly or his music because,
I used to be until I started hearing little things that's like,
and that's not a judgment, it's just for me, his songs, when he came out, I'm from Chicago, when he came out in 1992-94 with Public Announcement, I was still like a preteen. And his songs were so sexual, like so overtly sexual. I was just like,
aggressive.
what in the world? Like,
Aggressive.
and to me, he represented the type of guy that my mom warned us about. The pervert older guy. Like, show me your ID on stage, talking about, are you 18? And I'm like, what? Like, that was creepy. That was so creeper to me.
right.
So, I'm not going to say I never liked any R. Kelly songs, because that would be a lie. But I wasn't a fan.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I
fan or
was
whatever.
never a fan, and I'm
So,
not a fan
Yeah.
now.
I mean, there's a couple of jams I like, but as far as a fan, I never bought an R. Kelly CD. You know what I mean? But
Right.
I mean, I Believe I Can Fly. Look how many people,
Yeah.
you know, are that song.
Or they sang it for their graduation.
Right. Or the song about being a hero.
Like,
you
I
know,
can't
and all
fly
that
now.
stuff.
I'm
Right.
not allowed to fly because
So-
R. Kelly, you know,
So-
can't hold his urine. Now I can't fly anymore. That's crazy.
But you know what's interesting? It's kind of a question that you can put on yourself. Why didn't someone step in and advocate for Aaliyah? Because Damon Dash, I did watch a little bit of that. He said that she, you know, I mean, I don't know if she ever really got the help she needed, because he was saying when he would try to ask her certain things, she couldn't even talk about it. So you
Yeah.
go,
Really?
what happened to her, and what if the proper steps would have been put in place with that situation?
Maybe
How
it
many
would've
people
stopped.
would have been, you know,
Right.
would have been.
But you know
saved?
what? Some
'Cause, I mean,
of the
people
guys-
knew that they had the marriage certificate on the, you know, when he.
Well, the road manager knew, and he knew all this stuff that.
But
was
you're
going on.
talking about the people who know also depend on him to eat.
Yes. Yes.
So it's a moral dilemma that may be clear to me what I should do. I should get another job. But but let's say for someone who they're just thinking about the money, they're just thinking about their family. Okay, I'm gonna keep my daughter, because people do that. People will know someone is not right and say, well, I'll just keep my kids away from them.
Right,
You know what I
right.
mean?
Yeah, they
Because they don't want to rock the boat. They
But
don't
we need
want
to stop that, though.
Yeah.
We need to stop that.
So I just
Yeah,
feel like
people have to
speaking
get
about
involved.
it, and strong, intelligent women like ourselves saying, okay, this isn't right. You know, because the people who are loudest are the people who are wrong most of the time. And when I say wrong, the people who are like, those girls are lying. What about their parents? Like deflecting. Like none of that changes what he did.
Right.
The
No.
issue is his behavior. The issue is
Right.
R. Kelly's behavior. R. Kelly selecting young girls. R. Kelly being a sexual deviant.
But
R.
you know
Kelly,
what?
that's put it back on him,
Some people think,
not on the parents.
people think that if the girls wouldn't allow that, he couldn't get away with that. That's why some people.
They're
They
being
blame the girl.
They're being
If
manipulated.
if I break into
experience,
your house because
you know?
you leave your door open, am I wrong?
You know,
Some people will say, well,
and
you
then
shouldn't have left the door.
what R. Kelly has children. I feel so bad for his children.
But you know
and
what?
they're going
His
through.
wife, his ex-wife, said that when they went to school, the kids didn't even want to sit with them
You know,
because of that.
Yeah.
That's
so
It's
his
just
children
sad.
who are innocent, you know what I mean, are being victimized. You know what I
I
mean?
would take
And
my
this-
kids to a school that nobody knew and change their name. This is not R. Kelly's child.
It's our Melly.
My goodness.
My last name is Melly.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe this, but it's a serious topic. It's just so many layers
I
of it.
know.
And then, like, sometimes when it's hard because there are people I know who have been abused and have been molested, and they stand for R. Kelly because no one protected them.
And that's a good point. I'm so glad you said that because I've heard that too before, that sometimes people who have been abused don't help other abusers because they feel like it happened to me, get over it. I deal with it. I
Yeah.
deal with it. And that is there's a big percentage of people who are like that.
Really?
Yes, and that is I mean, documented medical information that said, you know, sometimes people who are abused, they just don't have empathy for other people who have been
Because
abused because
they
they say it
built
happened to
this
them.
emotional
My
wall,
uncle
yeah.
did this, da 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 da, and then they repeat the things that I heard, and they start, you know, victim blaming themselves. Which is another thing, you know, we kind of touched on it earlier. I want to make sure you reiterate that when it comes to sexual assault and R. Kelly, like you said, there's a spectrum. Sexual assault involves a lot of things. So even if we talked about it being, you can be attempted rape, grabbed inappropriately, groped. That is still sexual assault. It doesn't have to be a full penetration
Right.
for it to be a crime.
Right.
And you know,
Right.
people need to just the victim blaming, the victim shaming is so severe. It's really, really unfortunate and just, you know, sickening.
It's just like maybe like I've seen on TV where the mother's boyfriend has done something to the daughter, and the mother gets mad at the daughter. You walking around here with
Yeah.
half
Those
the
little
clothes
shorts
on.
on.
Yeah, so it's like,
But never on his behavior.
I mean, I just
Look,
don't understand.
look, we've been groomed since children, and I blame Beauty and the Beast because
Beauty and the Beast.
she was kidnapped.
Beast.
That beast kidnapped that girl and kept her in the
I didn't see
castle.
Beauty and the Beast.
And you know, and
You know, Beauty and the Beast. I'll be real with you. You know, we want to go there. Beauty and the Beast is questionable on a lot of levels.
Maybe I will watch
You gotta watch that. No,
she has Stockholm syndrome. That's what I'm trying to You are not gonna fall in love with your captor. You are not.
we're going too far with it, y'all. We're going too far with it. We're going too far with it, y'all. We're going to be like,
We're gonna take another break and we'll be right back. Back. Okay, now where do we?
Yeah, I retract that statement. I don't want no smoke. I don't want no smoke with Disney. I don't want no smoke with Disney.
Oh my god.
Yeah, but you know, look, we have to prioritize protecting our children,
Yes.
and
that's
not.
important.
And I will say also the sexualization of children. There were studies that black girls are perceived to be older and more mature
Right.
than what they really are.
Right.
And with that type of mentality, it's like easier to believe that a younger black girl is being sexually promiscuous versus being a victim.
Yeah, I agree.
They're not
that's
seen
right.
as victims.
Yeah.
And then because of sometimes how our girls dress.
Yeah.
You know, some people say
Dress is a big
you're
problem.
just asking for someone to say something to
Yeah.
you or do something to you.
But who designs the clothes? What are these designers doing?
That's-
Because I have a
that's
really
it.
big problem with these bikinis
That's it.
for elementary kids.
Mhm.
When
But-
did that? That's when you know
But
what I mean.
where do you see those type of clothes? Where do you see little heels for toddlers? Where do they sell that?
I think they sell it everywhere. Where they sell it?
Girl, look. Well, they may sell it everywhere now because of the Kardashians, but I don't want no smoke with them either. But but back in the day, those hood shops would be the ones that sold halter tops for toddlers. That sold, you know.
Really?
But even that being said, no one has the right to touch you, rape you, molest you
Regardless
without
of what you have on.
regardless of what you have on.
That's true.
Ideally, you should be able to walk down the street naked. Because Adam and Eve was naked in the garden, okay?
Exactly.
And no one should be able to touch you.
So yeah, we can't blame it on the clothes. It's the behavior.
So,
now,
well-
that's true because a pervert is going to be a pervert.
A
if you
pervert,
have
'cause
any
it's
clothes
in-
on or
it's in
not.
their head.
But where does this all come from? I mean,
What do you mean? What? The
why-
molestation?
Yeah, why are men like that? Or women?
It's a power
not,
dynamic.
It's
And
just
that's
not
another
men.
thing, too.
It's women too.
Women, look at these teachers. What happened with the teachers
Yeah.
who molest their own students? Remember
Yeah.
the teacher from years ago, and I think the boy was Hispanic descent.
Yeah.
He ended up marrying his teacher
Yeah.
years later.
It's abuse
So,
of power.
Yeah, it's women.
It's
do
really
that
abuse
too.
of power.
But
When
you hear about it more with men, but women do
Women
that.
do it too.
I mean, it's just like
Because
Tyler Perry. He said that a woman molested him, or
Oh,
and,
really?
And then it was someone else that said a woman did this to them, and it was a
Oh, that comedian D-Ray Davis. He was giving an interview, and he basically said he lost his virginity to 2 women, and he was making a joke. But if you listen to it, it was like, no, you were raped. He was like, and they were ugly, and they were, you know, and they were his mother's friends. And I was just like, and so, you know, if you go like on Twitter and things like that, like there were people saying, okay, because the guy he was telling it in a joke format, and the guy who's interviewing him was laughing, but I was just like, that's not funny. Do you get what he's saying? He's saying he was like 11 or something. It was a really young age, and the ladies were in their 30s.
That's
you have to be sick.
Yeah, but
And that's sad if he don't see it. It's like, is he doing this as a way to heal, or does he really not understand what happened to him?
when he was discussing it, he seemed disgusted. Like, so, but he said it like,
Maybe that's his way of getting it out.
yeah.
Oh, Charlemagne.
Charlemagne.
Yeah, he
The
was-
singer?
No.
You mean Leonard?
I know who you talking
Monique
about.
said Leonard.
Who we talking about?
Charlemagne, but Monique said Leonard when she was met on Power the Breakfast Club.
Yeah,
The
he was molested or raped by a female.
Yeah.
When he was young.
Because young guys, I mean, culturally, it's like, okay, if you look at movies, it's like, oh my gosh, these boys, they hit puberty and they're
And then they're tall and they built and then,
but my
still,
point is they're like, oh, I just want a woman, I just have to have sex. But girls that age, they're taught, you know, not to. So it's like a fantasy
right, to be with an older
to be
woman.
with the older woman. So
Right.
that's the cultural socialization part. But there is a trust and a power manipulation and a line that's crossed, because a lot of kids are molested by their babysitters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And there are female molesters as well.
Yes. And then there's child-on-child molestation too.
Because the child,
Yeah.
older children, my mom was very big on not letting us do sleepovers, and I just thought like, oh my
You
gosh,
thought it was
she
just
is
being
the meanest
No.
ever. Like,
Yeah, because you never
everybody
know.
does it.
You never know. That is
You
so, and I
never
applaud her. I applaud her so much because you know I do that because you just never know.
Nowadays you never know.
And it's like y'all come over here, Jane come over there. You know what I mean? And it's just a way of protecting minds, especially from the experiences that I've had. Just a way of protecting mine, you know.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important because you just never know, and even for your mom to understand that. You think you know somebody. So many times we think we know people,
and
we don't really know.
No.
We don't
Yeah.
really know what's going on.
And we
behind
know
closed
what they
doors.
want us to know.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What they
We
want
know
us
the
to
facade
see.
they put on.
Right.
And it's important that we teach children how to protect themselves at an early age. Stop,
Right.
I'm going to tell you. No, you will
Right.
not touch me because those kids,
Good touch, bad touch.
right, those
Right.
kids are
Yeah.
not, sought out by predators because they know they're going to speak up.
Right.
You know, so that you have to teach. I can't understand why. I get the fact that it may be difficult, make you feel uncomfortable to talk to your children about good touch, bad touch, but you got to touch.
Yeah.
You have to tell them this is your body part, this is the appropriate name for it, and no one is to touch it and misuse that.
Right.
And empower children to have autonomy over their body.
Right.
Not go and get your Uncle Joe a kiss. I hate that.
Yeah,
No. No.
Yeah, let them.
And you do not let your daughter sit on men's laps.
Yeah, I don't agree with that either.
No.
But even with that being said, I never want to deflect the responsibility from the adult or that person.
Right.
Stop raping people.
Right. Get some
Stop
help.
molesting people.
Get some help.
Stop, even if you want to take it a step further, like with the sexual assault and guys are like, well, she didn't say no. What she didn't say yes. Like, why isn't that the litmus test? She said yes, I would like to have sex with you. How difficult is that?
Right.
The interesting thing about it is too is like we have to talk about ways to put it out there, like we're doing.
Yeah.
From an early age, teaching children how to protect themselves because we don't know what's going on at school.
Right.
So I have to try to, just as a mom, I always say it doesn't matter if it's an adult, male or female, or a child, male or female.
Right.
They are capable of doing bad things, so you have to know and speak up and protect
Right.
yourself.
I will share this story. I remember distinctly, and I remember the two people involved as well, so I'm not saying names, but we would always go in a group to the restroom. But it was just a few of us that went. And these two little girls were in the stalls showing each other their private parts. And the girl was like, I come out the stall to wash my hands. She's like, if you show me yours, I'll show you mine. I said, no, my mama told me can't nobody look at my private parts.
And how old were you when this happened?
It had to be 8.
Because
And think about who something
has happened.
Yeah.
The reason why she's doing it, someone's touched her, or she's had some encounter with someone.
And probably the little girl was friends with her and thinks that it's cute and doesn't know because her parents didn't tell her that's inappropriate to do.
Exactly.
But I was just like, nope. My mama said.
And see, when my daughter was young, I wouldn't allow her to spend the night over her friend's house that had older brothers.
Yeah. And that's a lot of people do that because you just never.
Or
you
if
never
they had a
create
boyfriend,
situ-
to live that, if there's a man in the house, no.
It's kind of unfortunate because kids need to socialize and things like that, but I guess you have to have safe spaces because
you do have to have a safe space.
To do that.
Yeah.
But like all that old stuff you see on TV where I'm going over Johnny's house, Mom. Okay.
No,
That
that
wasn't
wasn't
happening.
happening because that's how it was with some of my friends. Like if my brothers were home, they couldn't come spend the night, and it makes good sense. It's just good principles. Like for example, even boys and girls they play different. You know what I mean? So it's just some of that is good common sense.
Right.
You know what I mean? As far as developmentally and structural. Development.
Well, common sense ain't common. Nah.
No, people don't have.
Yeah, some people don't have common sense. Is not common sense, but some things, some of those principles, like you're saying, is kind of the way to give structure.
But
and
see,
it makes kind of
now
sense,
with people coming up, they raise kids totally different.
That's so true.
And it's like I just don't feel like, and I don't want to get into this. Some people are just not parenting anymore. And that's why these kids, young kids.
Now that's a whole other show.
I know.
Talk about the dynamics of why,
Right. So.
But yeah.
But I just want to thank you guys for tuning in to Girl Talk. And like I said, go out and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you will never miss an episode. And until next time, God bless and thank you for watching.